The Tribit brand is a pretty solid brand. Something strange is that they sent out this speaker. So this Max Sound Plus speaker, it's pretty solid audio really, like for a speaker of this kind of age, some people would say, it still performs very solid. But the downside about a speaker that's a bit older nowadays is that they have some limitations. For example, the Bluetooth is 4.2. And don't get me wrong, Bluetooth 4.2 is pretty solid for like music listening, but the range isn't very long, so I get around 8 meters of range of the speaker. And it doesn't have USB Type-C. It still has micro USB on the rear, so that's a bit of a sad story. But the speaker is a pretty solid performer. And the funny thing is, Tribit sent this speaker in the past, they sent a new one. So the Micro 2 is also a pretty solid speaker of Tribit. And I honestly don't have a lot of things to compare this Tribit with, because it's a bit of a mixed bag speaker. It's a bit old and therefore it's also pretty cheap. And if you have a cheap speaker, it's pretty difficult these days to find another cheap speaker in a similar price. So yeah, I decided to do some comparisons with this Tribit with the Micro 2 and the Tozo Pa1 Play speaker, because that speaker is pretty close to price and power output. So without further ado, here are the comparisons with all these three speakers in comparison, and let's get started.
It shouldn't take this long. I'm a patient person, but now when I know you're wrong, while you sat there thinking silently and still, I guess you don't like talking much, and I don't think you ever will. I was running for hours, I was falling for days. I was trying to ask you, do you feel the same? But now I'm laughing, baby. I almost didn't think about you when I landed in Nashville tonight. The unnecessary way you waited for me, where families hold up signs, and I almost forgot the way that you looked at me in the soft light. Saw my soul reflected, felt known in the middle of a haze of a red wine stained night. So won't you tell me that I wasn't the only one? Might have misread some signs, trying to gather dim lights, but I saw what I saw in your eyes. So won't you
After doing some audio testing, I noticed a few things. The Tribit is a pretty clear performer. The treble is pretty nicely done. And the micro is a bit focused on, I would say, the upper low levels. This also has to do because the speaker is meant for bikers, so you can use it on your bike, for example. I also tried this because I now have this like e-bike from DJI, and it's a pretty solid performer, really. And especially the previous model, the Micro, didn't have very great battery life. And with this one they have improved the battery life enough that it is more usable. And when you compare the Tozo to the Tribit, there are a few things I noticed. The Tozo, its bass performance is a bit cool. But it's a bit more, I would say, close to each other than you would expect. Yeah, the Tozo has a few pros comparing to the Tribit. For example, it's newer, it looks a bit more like a high quality speaker, and it also has more EQ possibilities. Like the Max Sound Plus, it has a bass mode, but that's about it. And with the Tozo you have like a bass EQ, you have even an, I would say more like a treble EQ and a normal EQ. So normal EQ is the best one on the Tozo for most music, but the treble EQ I do sometimes like a bit more for the vocal stuff, because it then clears up the voices a bit more. And yeah, these three are pretty close to each other in price, but also usability, because they're all pretty small and compact. Yeah, this one is definitely better for on the go, but these two are pretty solid to also use outdoors and on a party, for example. I hope you guys enjoyed this video about these three. I know it's a bit different video than in the past, but yeah, Tribit did ask me to test out this speaker. And I was like, yeah, I can make a review, but that's pretty useless these days with so much speakers releasing. So I decided to just do a comparison between, yeah, a few speakers where this speaker is pretty close to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and see you guys in the next one.